An apparent fight between two groups who knew each other led to the shooting, and one person was detained. Andrews vowed there will be more arrests. I'm Mike Gracia.
There was just a half day of trading on Wall Street today, and boy, what a wild ride it was. The Dow fell 905 points for the day. NASDAQ dropping 353 points. Its worst fall in 2 months. S&P dropped 107.
This is the Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network. Coming up, scores and reports from across the state and analysis from David Shelton. The Scoreboard is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now your host for the High School Scoreboard, Phil Kornblut.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome into the High School Football Scoreboard here on the Sports Talk Media Network on this day after Thanksgiving. And, of course, that means upper and lower state championship games across the state of South Carolina on this Friday night, and an excellent night for playing high school football in South Carolina. We're going to bring you all the scores as they come in. In fact, most of the games have gone final. We'll be hearing from David Shelton, who was at the Dutch Fork and Fort Dorchester game tonight in the Low Country. He'll tell us all about that game and break down the results of all the games around the state tonight. And, of course, we'll have plenty of time to talk to many of the winning coaches around the state tonight and start setting things up for the state championship games next week. So let's tell you what we've got in final score-wise at this point on this Friday night. And in the 5A playoffs in the upper state, Gaffney and Spartanburg, they're playing this game over at Spartanburg High School. Gaffney having a fabulous year, beat Spartanburg in the first game of the regular season. The Vikings went on to have an excellent regular season, then a strong run through the playoffs. But it was the Indians tonight, too much offense tonight from Gaffney, 56-31. The Indians defeat the Vikings tonight to move on to the state championship game, where Gaffney next week will face Dutch Fork. Dutch Fork tonight went down to Fort Dorchester. It must have been an excellent football game. Dutch Fork wins it 21-14. A key point in this ball game, just following on Twitter, Fort Dorchester was threatening late in the third quarter, trailing by a touchdown. They were inside the Dutch Fork 10, threw an interception that killed that drive. And after a penalty on the next play, Dutch Fork threw a long touchdown pass. Antonio Williams, their outstanding wide receiver, was on the receiving end. Not exactly sure how long that was, but that was a touchdown for Dutch Fork, and it really turned things back around in the favor of the Silver Foxes. They go on to win it 21-14. So next week it'll be Gaffney and Dutch Fork for the 5A state championship. In the 4A playoffs in the lower state, Beaufort having a fabulous year, and the Eagles, a winner tonight over West Florence, 42-10. Not many people had Beaufort making it to the state championship game in the preseason. I don't think, but that is where they are. They defeat West Florence tonight. Final score there of 42-10. Their opponents in the state championship game next week, we are waiting on the final score there. Last update we had in that ball game between South Point and Greenville, going by the high school league updates on scores from the playoffs tonight, and it was South Point leading in the fourth quarter, 24-7. We'll see if we can get a further update on that for you here shortly. But South Point, the Stallions, well in control there at 24-7 in the fourth quarter. In 3A play, Daniel and Chester playing in the upper state final tonight. And let's see what the latest is there. Daniel seemed to be in control the last update that we had. Let's see if we have something new on Daniel and Chester.
We have a final there. Daniel won 41-20.
Daniel wins it 41-20. Okay, so the Lions continue to play great football with their quarterback, Trent Pierman. I'm sure leading the way tonight. He's an excellent quarterback. Daniel over Chester, 41-20. And so the Lions move on to play the Bulldogs of Camden. Camden beat Dillon tonight 13-7. Must have been a great ball game over at Zimp Stadium in Camden. It took a great defensive effort. We talked about Camden's defense. Camden has been very, very strong on defense the last couple of years as they've turned things around in that program. And they played great defense tonight. You had to hold Dillon to just 7 points. 13-7, Camden over Dillon. And Daniel beat Chester 41-20. Daniel and Camden next week in the 3A championship game. In the 2A upper and lower state final games, Gray Collegiate having slayed Abbeville last week, and they did not suffer any kind of a letdown tonight as they defeated Newberry 35-28. Another really close ball game. And as a result of this, the fabulous coaching career of Phil Strickland comes to an end at Newberry High School. And we salute him for what was a outstanding high school coaching career. But Gray Collegiate, with Adam Holmes, the head coach there, a program that was, just formed a few years ago when the school was created, and they find themselves playing for their first state championship in football next week. They defeat Newberry 35-28. The opponent will be Silver Bluff, and what a ball game this was. We should get a report on this later. Silver Bluff, a winner over Barnwell tonight, 42-35. It sounds like the two teams just kind of went back and forth with one another offensively. And at the end, Silver Bluff was the one that had the last shot, perhaps. Not exactly sure if they scored on the last possession or what, but Silver Bluff wins it 42-35. More details on that coming up a little bit later. In the 1A playoffs, Southside Christian, the defending champion, and they showed why tonight. No trouble with Lamar, winning 49-7. Big win for Southside Christian, and that was in the upper state, and a completely different game in the lower state final. Bamberg Earhart wins it by a score of 7-6 over C.E. Murray. I would imagine it was a difference of just an extra point there. Bamberg Earhart wins it over C.E. Murray 7-6. So Bamberg Earhart and Southside Christian will meet next week for the 1A state championship. So just waiting on one game to be completed at this point. If you see anything, Pat, be sure to break in Greenville and South Point, waiting on a final there. So just to recap.
Well, here, Corn, real fast. Look, we actually, if you want me to break in here, we have Billy Baker standing by with Southside Christian's head coach, who won tonight 49-7 over Lamar, who will be facing Bamberg Earhart in the state championship next week. We have Billy here if you'd like to go ahead and bring him in. I know the coach is ready to get on the bus and get out of there.
Oh, absolutely. Great job. We have a hot call. We called a hot call from Billy Baker of the High School Sports Report. We appreciate Billy so much. He gets out to the big games in the state, and he was on hand there for that upper state 1A final. Southside Christian, no trouble with Lamar, 49-7. Take it away, Billy.
Phil, the bus is literally waiting on Coach Mike Sonneborn, whose team won 49-7 tonight. They led 35-0 early in the second quarter. Junior quarterback LeCroy Martin, 5 touchdowns tonight, rushing for about 85 yards. Just a complete domination on defense. He had 7 or 8 players make all region, and we don't know if it'll be a lopsided game, like they had with Lakeview last year. Bamberg plays really good defense. But I'll tell you, Southside Christian is a complete football team on both sides of the ball and special teams. They have a great PAT kicker. But I'll let you talk to Coach Mike Sonneborn, who has a son on the team, a senior this year. I'm sure he will give him a sound-off hug, Saturday at 2 o'clock at Benedict College. They've been outstanding Class A finals between Bamberg Earhart, undefeated, and Southside Christian, undefeated. I give you Mike Sonneborn, literally waiting to get on the bus here in Lamar. Here is Coach Sonneborn.
You got it.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Coach, congratulations. Good to have you with us. Phil Kornblut with the Sports Talk Media Network. Pat Daniel is as well here in Columbia. Congratulations. You're going back to the state championship game. And as Billy said, what a great performance tonight by your team against Lamar.
Yeah, it was a kind of a dominant performance. We got on them early. We picked off a ball in the red zone on their third or fourth play of the game, and then they had a bad punt. We just kind of jumped on top of them early, and it was 14-0 before they could blink, and then we got to 21. And Lamar likes to run the football, and once you're down 21-0, that game plan has to change a little bit. So we just kind of caught fire. We played a really good football game tonight. And we have a lot of respect for Lamar. They've got a great program and a great history, but we're a little too much for them tonight.
Absolutely. Your offense, you have been a great offensive team during this run to state championships. What's been the key there, and what do you think of the performance tonight?
Well, complete game. Obviously, defense always puts us in good field position, and we've got a kind of a two-headed monster with Ja'Cory. He can throw it, he can run it. We've got some good running backs, quality wide receivers, and we were just firing on all cylinders tonight.
What about the matchup next week with Bamberg Earhart, a very good defensive team? Your early thoughts on matching up with them?
Well, Bamberg's got a rich tradition. They win a lot of football games every year. I know their calling card is defense, and we're pretty good on defense too. So we're expecting a very, very physical and hard-hitting game next week, and we're looking forward to the opportunity.
Have you found it harder to be in a position to make the run to try to repeat versus that run last year to get that first championship?
I think it's harder to repeat. I think it's harder to get back twice than it is the first time. There's it's just some hurdles that you don't always expect a little bit, and it's hard to do something twice, but we're honored to be a part of the state championship game again.
Well, we congratulate you. Thanks again to Billy Baker for being there and getting you to us. Have a safe trip home, and we'll talk to you again, and congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Southside Christian on to the state championship game last night. Coach Mike Sonneborn with us here on Sports Talk. We've got the final score of the night, and South Point has beaten Greenville 24-14. So South Point going to the state championship. How many times in their relatively brief history have the Stallions been in this position? Of course, they've had so many great players come through there, including their current head coach, Devontae Holliman. And South Point wins it over Greenville 24-14. And as we talked about last week, Pat, the head coach at Beaufort was on Devontae Holliman's staff at Beaufort. When Devontae left to go to South Point, he was promoted to become the head coach at Beaufort, and now they meet again.
That's right. Yeah. Bryce Lybrand is an up-and-coming name people around the state need to get themselves familiar with. He comes out of Greenwood, but now he has garnered experience at various levels of football in both collegiate and high school. And I don't think any of us would have predicted Beaufort would have made it to the state championship if you had been asked at the beginning of the season. And for more information on that, we have David Shelton joining us now. If you'd like me to go ahead and bring him in, and maybe he could give us a little more in-depth information on that game.
Well, let's begin with David, and good to have you with us, David. Settle in. We got a long night of high school football conversation ahead of us, but tell us about the game you were at. Then we'll get into these other games and talk about the championship schedule next week. But you saw a one-touchdown game. Nobody has tested Dutch Fork this season the way they were tested tonight by Fort Dorchester. How did Dutch Fork win this one?
Well, they hit a 74-yard swing pass to Jarvis Green, and they hit a 96-yard touchdown pass to Antonio Williams. And other than those two plays, they did not have a lot of offense. Green was limited to like 58 yards rushing. I think they finished with a season-low 333 yards total offense. It's the closest game they've had since the 2019 state championship game against Durham that went overtime. And I'll be honest with you, it was 14-0 in the first quarter, and it looked like Dutch Fork was going to do what they've been doing all year, just blow people out. But they Fort Dorchester hung in there, and Tom Knott said after the game, the last three quarters they outplayed us. And Steve LaPratt said that he thought they were the better team, but the better team doesn't always win. You got to score the most points, and Fort Dorchester made a run late. Got a touchdown there with 5 minutes to go in the game to cut it to a one-score game. They could not get off the field on Dutch Fork's last possession until like 33 seconds left, and threw a couple of Hail Marys, and it didn't work. But they actually finished with more yards. They ran more plays and had a 13-minute edge in time of possession. So I don't know if Dutch Fork showed some signs of weakness, or Jarvis Green wasn't 100%. And Tom Knott said after the game they played a very physical Sumter team last week, and then he said tonight was as physical a game as they've played in years. I mean, Fort Dorchester will hit you, and their defensive front did a great job. But Dutch Fork, you got to give them credit. They're on the road. Things didn't look like they were going as easy as they could or as they have all year, and they managed to win. And it's Tom Knott said, yeah, we don't look like a team that's won 62 games in a row or haven't been beaten 62 games, but we're playing one more and we'll show up and play. But Steve LaPratt said after the game, he said in his mind tonight was the state championship game, and he didn't feel like the winner of the Gaffney Spartanburg even needed to show up next week. So, but I think they ought to show up. I think Gaffney will bring a team to play Dutch Fork that can play with them. I saw seeing Dutch Fork in person tonight and seeing what a really good defense can do. If Gaffney can play really good defense, they've got a shot to beat Dutch Fork, I think.
Don't tell Gaffney they can't win, because first of all, there'll be more Gaffney fans there at Benedict College than Dutch Fork fans, whatever that means.
Without a doubt.
But all they have to hear is that they can't win, da-da-da-da, and that will rile that crowd up. All right, hang on, David. We got to run to a break. And when we come back, we'll reset everything with the scores from tonight and start talking about those matchups next week. We'll also start to dial up some other successful coaches from across the state tonight. It has been an exciting night, the night of the upper and lower state championship games, which is what you would expect at this stage of the season. Don't go away. We've got a lot to do here on the Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Save like a pro with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders Loyalty Select account gives you the opportunity to grow your savings at our best rate yet. Fund your account through your favorite Loyalty Select product to get savings today. Not a member yet? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty of barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
The Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl is back for 2021, showcasing the best South Carolina high school football has to offer. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com and make your plans to join us in Myrtle Beach on December 11th in celebration of Palmetto State All-Stars from the Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, and Low Country. Visit touchstoneenergybowl.com for a full schedule of the week's events leading up to the game and Mr. Football South Carolina award presentation. Past winners include Stephen Gilmore, Marcus Lattimore, Jadavian Clowney, and Luke Doty.
It's definitely an honor, to be recognized as one of the best players in South Carolina. These guys are definitely deserving of the award as well. So it really is just an honor, to be named Mr. Football.
That's the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, kicking off at Myrtle Beach High School's Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium, 12:30 Saturday, December 11th. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com.
We are back on the high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Phil Kornblut and Pat Daniel and David Shelton. If you're just joining us, give you the scores. Everything is final now. We can tell you everything from tonight and what's ahead next week. In 5A, Upper State, Gaffney over Spartanburg, 56-31. Lower State, Dutch Fork defeats Fort Dorchester, 21-14. In the 4A playoffs, Upper State, South Point, 24, Greenville, 14, and Beaufort, 42, West Florence, 10. 3A playoffs, Upper State, Daniel, 41, Chester, 20, Camden, 13, Dillon, 7. In 2A, Upper State, Gray Collegiate, 35, Newberry, 28, and Silver Bluff over Barnwell, 42-35. And in the 1A playoffs, Southside Christian, 49, Lamar, 7, and Bamberg Earhart, 7, C.E. Murray, 6. And, by the way, another game we're watching, NC State, North Carolina. Important game to Clemson. They need NC State to lose, and then they need Wake Forest to lose to Boston College tomorrow. Pat, what's the latest on the Wolfpack and the Tar Heels?
Well, Corn, I must have jinxed them. I apologize to Clemson fans out there. North Carolina kicked a field goal to have a 9-point lead with just over 2 minutes remaining. NC State got the ball, immediately marched down the field, had about a 55-yard touchdown pass to bring it within 2, and now they just recovered the onside kick. So now NC State has the ball with only needing a field goal to win the game. They are at midfield right now, 1 minute and 33 seconds remaining.
Oh, my goodness. Mike, and they're playing in Raleigh.
Playing in Raleigh, and North Carolina's defense looks gassed.
Wow. All right. The high school championship schedule for next week is set. All tickets are $10. All games at Benedict College. One game on Thursday, December 2nd. It'll be the 4A championship at 7 o'clock. It's Beaufort against South Point. On Friday, there'll be 2 games. Beginning at 2 o'clock, the 3A championship, Camden versus Daniel, followed by the 2A championship, Silver Bluff versus Gray Collegiate at 7 o'clock. And then on Saturday at Benedict, there'll be the final 2 games, the Class A game, Bamberg Earhart versus Southside Christian at noon. And at 5 o'clock, the 5A championship game will be Dutch Fork against Gaffney. David, how do you feel about putting all the games at Benedict College once again? I realized last year, with it being a COVID situation, and they went to Benedict and they spread these games out over days, got that, understood that, see that. Now, I know that University of South Carolina has charged them over the years a pretty hefty fee for using their facilities. So, I don't know. How do you weigh going to Benedict and playing there from a cost standpoint might be good? Then again, part of the beauty of the Weekend of Champions was playing those games at the big stadium in Columbia and letting those kids experience that.
Well, I don't really. I don't know. I want to see how it works. I want to see how this works this year. I'm not a fan really of having it over 3 days. You know, like the 4A teams have to play Thursday night, even though Thursday practice days are usually walkthroughs anyway. So it's not like they're at a big disadvantage, but physically they may be. You know, I know if Dutch Fork had to play, I don't know that Jarvis Green would be able to go. I mean, he was hurting pretty good a while ago. So, you know, I think it's a cost thing, but let's see how it works.
Yeah.
Let's see how it works. I wish it was 2 days, you know, where you could come in on a Friday, watch some games, come in and then come back Saturday. But I understand why, you know, with the COVID and clearing the stands and all that kind of mess. But I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works.
I seriously wonder, and I may be just wondering wrongly here, I seriously wonder if the facility can handle the crowd that Gaffney and Dutch Fork will have for that 5A championship game.
Well, I don't think that will be a problem. I mean the place holds 12,000, and in past years, now Gaffney hadn't played in a few years, and Gaffney will bring a crowd. Dutch Fork will not bring 6,000 people. They'll bring 3,000. So yeah, I think they can hold. I think that will hold. but it'll be crowded. I mean, the visitor side, if that's Gaffney side, they're going to be packed in there. But you know, I don't know in the last 6 or 7 years if there's been a crowd of 12,000 at Williams-Brice for any one game.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Would know, but I'm pretty sure.
For those listening who plan to come, make plans to leave early because traffic flow is not good. It's a break on the high school scoreboard.
Weekdays from 7 to 9 on The Point. It's Kev and Brian in the morning. The news, the traffic 4 times an hour, and your daily forecast. Topics to wake you up, topics to make you smile and laugh. Hope you'll join us.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. If there's one thing Washington State residents don't need right now, it's more rain. Now through Monday, they are...
Oh, man, storm's coming. I need to be prepared. Where's my phone? Oh, there it is. All right, here's the Dominion Energy app with Face ID. I am ready to go. That's right, folks. If those South Carolina storms hit, the new Dominion Energy mobile app is a must-have. So easy to use and convenient to have around. It's not just for power outages. With this app, you have instant access to all of your energy usage, too. Pretty cool stuff. Take it from me. Be prepared this season and download it today. There's something special about a lasting relationship. You know, I started off as a customer of Stone Interiors almost 15 years ago. Well, that relationship grew, and they've been a partner now of The Point since we launched more than 8 years ago. Relationships matter. People matter. Local matters. Stone Interiors is all about being local, all about customer service, and all about building a great relationship with their customers. I'm proud to call the folks over there my friends. That's all well and good. But what about their granite? What about their marble? What about their craftsmanship? I know all about this as their customer. It is elite. They're the best at what they do. They have the largest selection of granite anywhere to choose from. They have the top team to do the installation. So if you've been considering new countertops, a kitchen backsplash, that bathroom remodel, or even an amazing outdoor kitchen, treat yourself right. Call Stone Interiors. Nobody does it better. You'll brag about them the same way I do. Check out their website, stoneinteriors.com, or give them a call, 461-8950. That's 461-8950. Remember, relationships matter. I know you'll enjoy working with Stone Interiors.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
People who are vaccinated are getting sick from COVID variants, and Americans have no end of questions and concerns. What we do know is that fever is the leading sign of COVID, so everyone needs an accurate thermometer. Exergen Temporal Scanner's accuracy is backed by more than 100 clinical studies, while non-contact devices have no supporting studies. Vaccines are not enough. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Exergen is changing the way the world takes temperature.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? Do you feel like there's no way out? Don't let the credit card companies bully you anymore. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Call Total Financial now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605.
Puerto Rico is the new go-to destination for investment opportunities, and Impeller is the new online tool that connects investors with innovative projects seeking capital on the island. Impeller takes the guesswork out of investing in Puerto Rico, surfacing the insights you need to make informed decisions and empower your investment portfolio. Visit investpr.org/impeller and set up your account today to see what the island has to offer. Impeller, your hub for investment opportunities in Puerto Rico. Powered by Invest Puerto Rico.
Is your current home loan the right fit for you? Near historic low rates may be a great reason to refinance, but when matched with an expertly chosen loan from Loan Depot, you could be saving money and paying more towards the bottom line. Call a Loan Depot loan officer and ask about our 27-year Smart Term loan or our 10-year ARM loan. Get a great rate matched with a great loan by calling 866-888-LOAN or visit loandepot.com. At Loan Depot, home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing opportunity. License number.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the High School Football Scoreboard brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union all across the state of South Carolina. On the Sports Talk Media Network, Phil Kornblut and David Shelton and Pat Daniel on this night. After Thanksgiving, you know, around the state of South Carolina, around every state, you want to be practicing on Thanksgiving, and what makes that even nicer is to win the night after Thanksgiving, and we've had 10 teams do just that tonight to advance to the state championship games next week at Benedict College. Recapping in the upper state, Gaffney beat Spartanburg 56-31. In the lower state, it was Dutch Fork over Fort Dorchester 21-14. In the 4A playoffs, upper state, South Point 24, Greenville 14, and Beaufort over West Florence 42-10. In the 3A playoffs, upper state, Daniel 41, Chester 20. In the lower state, Camden 13, Dillon 7. 2A playoffs, Gray Collegiate 35, Newberry 28, and lower state, Silver Bluff 42, Barnwell 35. In the 1A playoffs, in the upper state, Southside Christian 49, Lamar 7. In the lower state, Bamberg Earhart over C.E. Murray 7-6. There you go with all the scores from tonight, and we are set for the state championship games next week in Columbia. We'll try and catch up with some of these coaches in just a little bit as we move on through the evening. David, let's talk about tonight's 5A playoff action. Gaffney beating Spartanburg 56-31, and you saw Dutch Fork over Fort Dorchester 21-14. You've already talked about that. What about the offensive showcase we had tonight between Gaffney and Spartanburg? 87 points combined. Gaffney with too much offense for the Vikings, 56-31.
Well, you know, that game was Spartanburg was up on that game 24-14 in the first half. So the offense didn't come around for Gaffney until the second half. But when it came around, it came around. And that's how Gaffney's been. They've always been a second-half team, and they were, you know, clearly dominant in the second half tonight.
So the matchup with Dutch Fork, what things do you think Gaffney might do well that will give them a shot against Dutch Fork next week?
Well, I think Gaffney's a lot like Fort Dorchester in terms of their offense. They can throw it in and run it pretty well. Defensively, you know, if Gaffney can play like Fort Dorchester played tonight, they've got a shot. But, you know, it's going to come down to Gaffney's defense, you know, being able to – and they're going to be confident because they're going to see that film and that score from tonight, and they're going to – you know, they have a chance to win. And like I said earlier at the top of the show, I feel like they've got a chance. I don't think this is as much of a walkover as a lot of people thought. So when you analyze Dutch Fork tonight, going against a high-quality opponent in Fort Dorchester, did Fort do to kind of keep this high-powered Dutch Fork offense somewhat under control? Well, they took away the running game, and I felt like they could do that because their defensive front is really good at Fort Dorchester. They have been good all year. They've got the South Carolina commitment. They got one that's even better, Devin Geddes, who is an unbelievable football player. He had a huge game tonight with several sacks and tackles for loss. Now, if Gaffney can do that, if they can take away the running game, make Dutch Fork a little one-dimensional, again, Dutch Fork had 175 yards on 2 plays, and they had 330 for the game. They hit a screen pass, or a little swing pass to Jarvis Green for 74 yards. And then in the fourth quarter, they backed up to their own 4-yard line. They threw a long bomb to Antonio Williams, who caught it in stride and went 96 yards. Other than that, they didn't have a whole lot of offense.
Speaking of Antonio Williams, I know you were on the field after the ball game. Don't know if you talked to him, or if you just focused on Fort D, but any word from any of the reporters there or for him about what his travel plans will be this weekend?
No, I do not get into that. After a game, I'm talking to coaches and worried about the game. I'm not worried about recruiting. And maybe Lou asked him. I don't know, but they left the field immediately. So if Lou chased him down, maybe he would know. And Lou's going to call in a little while.
Okay.
So you can ask him all about Antonio. In fact, Lou said at dinner tonight, he said, Phil's going to ask about Antonio Williams recruiting. And sure enough, Phil asked about his recruiting.
Well, that's what people want to know. What did you think about him as a player?
Oh, he's good. Oh, he's a good player. He's got some size to him. Physical player. Can run. I think he only caught 2 or 3 passes. I mean, they didn't complete a whole heck of a lot of them, but that 96-yarder was a thing of beauty. No question. That was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, I saw that play. I saw the video that Lou tweeted, and that play followed an interception. Tell us about that. I think it was in the third quarter, kind of late. It was a tight ball game, obviously. Late. Now, Fort D was like inside the red zone, right? Looking like they might score.
Fort D had the ball in the red zone 3 times and came away with 0 points. That's why, they had every opportunity to win this game tonight. But, yeah, that came after a pick. Osborne was pressured and tried to throw it deep to the end zone. It didn't get there. They picked it off. Then they got a penalty. So they backed him up to the 4-yard line, and they just dropped back and let it rip. And it was a beautiful play, a beautiful throw, beautiful catch. And once he caught it, he was already 5 yards ahead of the defensive back. And once he caught it, there was no catching him.
Yeah. All right, we've got the final score in on that NC State North Carolina game. Pat, do you want to deliver the news for those who don't know already?
Unfortunately, not great news for fans out there hoping to see Clemson back in the ACC championship game. North Carolina, I'm not sure if they could have tried to blow this game, they could do it a second time in a row. They blew a 9-point lead after kicking a field goal to go up 9 with 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. NC State immediately scored on I think it was about a 55, 60-yard touchdown pass. They then recovered the onside kick. It was interesting to note, North Carolina did not look like they were lined up ready to try to recover an onside kick. They looked like they had their normal recovery team out there, which also was a bit of a head-scratcher. NC State then was gifted with back-to-back penalties, roughing the passer, and a deep pass interference call against North Carolina. NC State, give them credit. They punched the ball into the end zone, took a 34-30 lead. North Carolina had a desperation, about a 35-yard pass to the end zone at the end of regulation that was intercepted by NC State. And that's your ball game, 34.
He always likes to give his pick in the South Carolina Clemson game, and so we'll get that from him a little bit later on. So if you're just joining us after watching that ball game, I'm sure many of you were watching that ball game, and you're wondering what in the heck happened in high school football tonight around South Carolina. Once again, to take you through the final scores, it was Gaffney over Spartanburg, 56-31, 5A Upper State final. In the lower state, Dutch Fork 21, Fort Dorchester 14. In the 4A Upper State Finals, South Point beat Greenville 24-14. In the lower state, Beaufort over West Florence 42-10. In the 3A Upper State Final, Daniel, a winner over Chester, 41-20. In the Lower State, Camden defeated Dillon 13-7. In the 2A Upper and Lower State Finals, Upper State, Gray Collegiate 35, Newberry 28, and Silver Bluff over Barnwell 42-35. And in the 1A Upper and Lower State Finals, Upper State, Southside Christian over Lamar 49-7. And Bamberg Earhart defeated C.E. Murray 7-6. So again, the schedule for the championship games next week, beginning on Thursday, it's a 3-day affair in Columbia at Benedict College, and we've got one game set for Thursday night. All tickets for these championship games are $10 each. So on Thursday night at 7 o'clock, the 4A championship game will be Beaufort against South Point. Then on Friday at 2 o'clock, the 3A championship game, Camden against Daniel. And then at 7 o'clock, the 2A championship game, Silver Bluff against Gray Collegiate. First time in a championship game for Gray Collegiate in its relatively short history. And on Saturday, in 1A, Bamberg Earhart against Southside Christian, the defending state champions. That'll be at noon, followed by Dutch Fork and Gaffney in the 5A championship game at 5 o'clock. After the break, we'll continue talking with David Shelton about the matchups of these teams headed to the state championships, his thoughts on how things played out tonight. And we'll be hearing from some coaches as well, plus counting on some reports from some guys who have been at games tonight. So we'll bring all that to you as well. Stay with us. Much more to do on this night of the Upper and Lower State Championships here on the High School Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union.
The Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl is back for 2021, showcasing the best South Carolina high school football has to offer. Get your tickets now at TouchstoneEnergyBowl.com and make plans to join us in Myrtle Beach on December 11th in celebration of Palmetto State All-Stars from the Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, and Low Country. Visit TouchstoneEnergyBowl.com for a full schedule of the week's events leading up to the game and Mr. Football South Carolina award presentation.
Hunter Helms in at quarterback, drops straight back in the end zone, fires deep. He's got a receiver off the seam. 45, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown for O'Marion Dollison.
That's the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, kicking off at Myrtle Beach High School's Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium, 12:30 Saturday, December 11th. Get your tickets now at TouchstoneEnergyBowl.com.
Watch Newsmax anytime, anywhere.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. Futurescholar.com.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. And I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skeeza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com. Back we are on the high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. All right, we talked about the 5A situation with Gaffney and Dutch Fork next week. Let's go to the 4A breakdown with David Shelton. So you had South Point defeating Greenville tonight, 24-14. In the upper state and the lower state, Beaufort over West Florence, 42-10. David, we've seen a lot of really good, great for that matter, South Point football teams over the years since they were formed, and a lot of great talent on those teams. And here we are now with South Point back in the state championship with a defense that apparently is very, very good because you hold Greenville to 14 points. You've done a terrific job on defense. We already knew that South Point had a very potent offense as well.
Yeah, their defense is the difference this year. They've won a lot of close games. They eked out one against Northwestern to start the season. I don't know if it was overtime, but it was a really, really close game. But they've won games with their defense this year, and they'll be a formidable challenge for Beaufort. Beaufort's offense is pretty good, pretty balanced. They can run and throw it. But Beaufort's also got a really good defense. So I really, just looking at it right off the cuff right now, I think that 4A championship game is going to be relatively low scoring. In the 20s, maybe the teens. I don't think either team's going to run away with that game. The defenses are too good.
What about this Beaufort team? I know we talked about it some last week when they made it to the lower state finals, sort of like, where did this team come from? Of course, this was Devontae Holliman's program for a short while after I believe he replaced Mark Clifford when he retired. And then Holliman came in, was there for a short while before going to South Point, back to his alma mater, and replaced by one of his assistant coaches who's gone in there and done an excellent job to get this team to the state championship game.
Yeah, I mean, this is their first time since 2007. And, like you said, they were always considered a good team. They were always kind of sitting near the bottom of the top 10 in our statewide media poll, 8, 9, 10. They lost to May River, which put them as a number 2 seed in the playoff. But they got really good towards the end of the year. They were starting to click, and they're very balanced offensively. They throw it decent. That's not the name of their game. The name of their game is power football and play defense, but they throw it well enough to keep you honest. And Haley is just a really good high school quarterback, just a tough player. I've talked to Bryce Wybrand a couple times during the season, and he just raves about his quarterback. But their defensive front is really good. They got 2 really good players, Wilson and Small, and their secondary is really strong. They got really good guys in the back end. So, this is going to be a really good championship game. The 2 coaches obviously know each other pretty well. But you're talking about a traditional powerhouse that you kind of expect every year to be there. And then you got a team that, maybe a Cinderella type story. But Beaufort and South Point is going to be a really good game. And they'll have the whole stage on Thursday night. No other games. It'll be all them. That should be an exciting time.
I agree. Looking forward to that over at Benedict College Thursday night. Let's go to the 3A breakdown, David. It was Daniel over Chester, 41-20, upper state. And then in a totally different type of game, a defensive dominated game, Camden over Dillon, 13-7. Let's start with Daniel. I mean, they've been good from the jump, and they have not let up at all this season, and they're just rolling once again. Big-time offense, really good defense, and I don't know, you like them the most going into this championship game? Did we lose David?
No, that's on me. And David, if you can hear us, I'm attempting to call Coach Tom Knotts right now, and the phone system is frozen on me. So bear with me 1 second. Let me try to reset this for us.
Okay. Let me know when David's ready to roll again. So Daniel over Chester, 41-20. Camden over Dillon, 13-7. Of course, Daniel led by the fine quarterback Trent Pierman, who was outstanding last year and has picked right back up on that this year. He can really swing it all over the place and obviously has some quality people at the skill positions to get the football too. So I'm anxious to hear what David has to say about this one. And all right, David, back with us. Sorry about that glitch. Believe it or not, a glitch in the system. Daniel and Camden. So we're talking about big offense here from Daniel versus Camden, which had a very good defense tonight.
Yeah, and they've been a good defense all year. They've been really good on defense, and to hold Dillon to one score, that says a heck of a lot. But Daniel is a different animal offensively, and nobody has slowed them down. But you know what? I saw it tonight. I saw an offense that was averaging 55 points a game and 500 yards. It held to 300 yards and 21 points. They won. So a defensive line in high school football, you can take away some things, put pressure on the quarterback. That gives Camden a chance. Now, can they score enough? Because you got to think that Daniel's going to find a way to score a couple of touchdowns. They're a better offense all the way around than what Dillon is. But that shapes up to be kind of the battle of wills, the high-scoring offense that throws the ball all over the field and really good receivers versus a defense that just doesn't give up yards or touchdowns. And it's a rematch from last year.
Yes, and looks like Chester could be right back in this thing next year because there's only 6 guys that they lose from their starting lineup tonight. So it does sound like they could be right back in this thing. But what about the passing game for Daniel catches your eye? What makes Pierman so effective? Is it just his overall arm skill or some of the skill position players around him?
Well, I mean, he's got really good receivers, but he's very accurate. They know the offense so well that it's just like a well-oiled machine. It's kind of I don't know if they would call it an air raid offense, but that's kind of what it is. They go short, they go medium range, and they suck you in, and then the Pierman lets it rip down the field. But Eli Merck is their junior receiver that is really good football player. He's a Division I prospect, a name we'll be talking about next year. Not a huge guy, but a slot. I mean, I see him as a slot guy in college. Very difficult to guard, great hands, great speed, and he's the guy. If Camden's going to have a chance, they got to know where he's at, and they cannot let him beat him because he's a really good high school wide receiver.
So when you've got a really good defensive team like Camden, which can also score some points, and you've got a big-time offensive team like Daniel, I mean, Camden's going to have to, despite how good they are defensively, you figure they're going to have to score some points in this ballgame next week to be able to stay in there with Daniel. In other words, you don't figure they're going to hold Daniel to 10 or 14 points and win the ball game. And, Camden's going to have to score, 21, 28 points, you figure, to have a shot?
I would think. I mean, I don't think it's fair to say that Camden has to, hold Daniel to 14 points because I don't think that's possible. Camden's going to have to score. Now, they might score on defense. They might score on special teams. But I really feel like for Camden to have a chance, they have to get to 21 or more because, I mean, again, Daniel they scored 41 tonight, and that might be the lowest point total of the season. I'd have to go back and look. But, it has been very difficult to stop Daniel. Now, Camden, knowing that offense, having played it last year, and they're really good on the defensive line and in the secondary, that you got to give them a chance. But I think the offense has to come up with some touchdowns to give them a chance to win the game.
Agree with you. I mean, you can't put all that pressure on your defense. Your defense can hang in there for so long, but the way football is today with the rules favoring the offense so much with pass interference and holding and everything in the secondary, roughing the passer and all this kind of stuff and targeting, assisting the offenses so much. The defenses really have it stacked against them in today's football.
Well, I mean, just look at if you go to the college level, Clemson's defense has been really good, one of the best in the country, and that they have 3 losses because the offense could not help them. Now, the offense has helped them lately, but in that loss to NC State and in that loss to Pitt, I mean, Clemson's defense played well enough against Pitt until it got late, but they played well enough for a half or three quarters.
All right, hang on, David. We'll continue with the high school football scoreboard brought to you by Founders after the top of the hour break.
Doesn't really work. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. World Health Organization's technical lead on COVID, Maria Van Kerkhove, says this new variant is very concerning.
The good thing is that we have monitoring systems around the world to detect these variants very quickly. This variant was detected a few weeks ago, and already scientists are sharing research with us, information with us, so that we can take action. What's really important as an individual is to lower your exposure.
It is getting rather difficult to keep track of them. We're talking about the polls that document plunging presidential popularity.
One of the latest, an NPR Marist poll gives Mr. Biden a 42% approval rating, disapproval 50%. A mere 3% of Republicans approve of his job performance, 81% of Democrats giving him a thumbs up. The president's approval rating did go up a bit among independents, and now the passage of the highly touted infrastructure bill hasn't given Mr. Biden the boost we have been told to expect. Rich Thomason reporting.
Also at townhall.com, one group says we should be having some huge holiday sales.
The National Retail Federation expects sales to increase both in-store and online in November and December.
Somewhere between 8.5 and 10.5%.
Catherine Cullen is the NRF Senior Director of Industry and Consumer Insights. She says after dealing with COVID restrictions last year, many people are anxious to return to the stores this holiday season.
People like shopping in stores for gifts because it lets them touch and feel a product, see it in person.
Cullen says an estimated 158 million people plan to shop either in-store or online over the Thanksgiving weekend. I'm Mike Hempen.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
Right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. Not only is it time for open enrollment for a lot of people, it's also when you can join MediShare and they'll waive your new member fee. Apply by November 30th. You'll save an additional $170. MediShare is the affordable alternative to health insurance. The typical family saves $500 a month. But join now, you can save even more. Call now, 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE.
President Biden has declared war on the small business owners of America. He's pushed for a massive tax increase, and his $2 trillion infrastructure plan is a $2 trillion tax hike on American employers. Job Creators Network works hard to fight these attacks, and they're looking for a few good men and women to join their small business advocacy and advisor program. They will prepare you to be a leader for small businesses in your community, your state, and the country you love. If you want to join the fight, go to joinjcn.com now. That's JoinJCN. They need you. America needs you.
The mother of the black Georgia man slain in 2020 after being chased by 3 white men convicted says she feels blessed this year despite her tremendous personal loss. Correspondent Norman Hall has the story.
Ahmaud Arbery's mother says her son's empty Thanksgiving chair is a symbol of justice. And despite what she says is an empty spot in her heart, she is grateful.
I'm thankful because this is the first Thanksgiving that we're having saying that we finally got justice for Ahmaud.
Wanda Cooper Jones spent the past 6 weeks away from home since jury selection started October 18th. She moved away from Brunswick after her son was killed. She says the coming days will be a time for rest and for reflection on memories of her son, such as his favorite foods.
Ahmaud liked butter beans. He liked butter beans and pork chops.
I'm Norman Hall.
Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Looking for the perfect gift? Get him a shirt from Untuck It. Now you can get up to 50% off with the Black Friday sale happening right now at Untuck It. Untuck It shirts are designed to be worn untucked. They're the easiest way to keep them looking sharp and feeling comfortable. You can't go wrong with our super soft flannels and wrinkle-free shirts, so don't miss it. Up to 50% off for a limited time only. Find the perfect gift for every guy in your list at untuckit.com or 80+ Untuck It stores. Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked.
Oh, you pressed the wrong button. Oh, residual.
This is the Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network. Coming up, scores and reports from across the state and analysis from David Shelton. The Scoreboard is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now your host for the High School Scoreboard, Phil Kornblut.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the High School Football Scoreboard on this Upper and Lower State Championship night here in South Carolina. Phil Kornblut, David Shelton, and Pat Daniel. Glad that you're with us. If you love high school football in South Carolina, we appreciate you sitting back with us as we discuss the state championship matchups for next week, recap what's happened tonight, and we'll be talking to some coaches here shortly as we're in the process of trying to line some of them up here. Most of them not free until after the 11 o'clock hour as they finish up. I'm talking about the successful coaches tonight, the winning coaches. They finish things up, and some of them have to travel. Some of them have to get back to their offices and, I guess, really start breaking down film. David, what's it like for the winning coaches tonight as far as a tape exchange with the opponent? I mean, I can remember days of yore, they would get the highlight tapes together, send an assistant coach out on the road like early Sunday morning to meet an opposing assistant coach. They would exchange the tape, etc. Are we still doing it that way, or how's it happening? Did we lose David?
Corn, my apologies. Are you asking for David? I was just on the phone with Dan Jones of Gaffney and was not able to hear you if you were queuing him in. Give me 1 second, please.
Yes, I was. And then we can bring in Coach Jones.
He's going to need a few minutes. They are in the midst of a parade. They just got home and were welcomed by, he said, over 100 fans who are welcoming them back with a car parade of sorts. So they're enjoying themselves. A few more minutes. He'll be joining us at about 15 or 20 after. But here's David for you.
Okay. How about that, David? How many schools in the state welcome their team back from an upper or lower state championship victory with a parade?
Well, Gaffney is a unique, special town. You know, there's only a handful of them left. The Gaffney, the Hartsville, places like that, Cheraw, you know, a place like Silver Bluff, Barnwell, where you have one school in the town. And if they have a parade tonight, if they win next Saturday night, that parade might go well into the weekend. I'm talking next Sunday. They'll still be going through.
You know, what's funny, we had Ellis Johnson on Wednesday night, and, of course, he coached at Gaffney, and one of his players was Dan Jones. And now Dan Jones is the very successful head coach at Gaffney. He's going to have a chance for another state championship for the Indians. My question to you was, I don't know if you heard it, was about now that we've got the state championship teams in order, and they start to prepare for the championship games next week. Back in the old days, assistant coaches would hit the road, I guess, on Sunday morning to meet with each other and exchange video. Is it still done that way, or are we into a more modern way of doing things?
Yeah, it's all done electronically now. As far as I know, it's all done electronically through Huddle and various other programs like that, where you can you're filming the game and you just download the tape and send it email or some sort of electronic way. I don't think they go around and exchange 3 or 4 tapes on a Saturday morning. Meet me halfway and I'll get you these tapes. I think it's all done more. You know, everything's on the Huddle. a lot of stuff will be on Huddle tonight.
Yeah. Can you get the views there that you ordinarily would? Does that give the coaches the kind of shots that they need to be able to best prepare?
It depends on who you are. Some of them intentionally don't give them the views. But yeah, for the most part, I think it's pretty standard. You get an end zone shot and over the top, over the press box type shot. That's pretty standard. But I've heard stories, where we got this film from so and so, and it was the worst piece of crap. Must have been a 3-year-old running that camera.
Anything to get an edge, for sure.
That's it.
Let's welcome in a good friend of the high school scoreboard and sports talk, Dennis Brunson with the High School Sports Report, and he was at Camden and Dillon tonight and saw a tremendous defensive battle. Not so sure going in that we expected such a low-scoring game, Dennis, but that's what we got. How did things work out for Camden to win that ball game?
Camden did a great job of slowing down Nemo Squire, and he just had 50 yards on 17 carries, and it wasn't a case of them focusing specifically on him, but they just held him down, and a lot of actually the quarterback from Dillon, Jack Grider, he was the leading rusher. He had 71 yards on 15 carries, but Camden's their defensive front is very strong. They're big and physical, and they made it difficult for Dillon to run particularly well in between the tackles. I mean, Squire's longest runner tonight was a 12-yarder, and there were a lot of short ones. And now it's not to say that Dillon didn't have its opportunities. They had first downs inside the red zone twice in the game and came away with no points on those. One time they had first and goal at the 4, and they ran wildcat with or their heavy package, whatever you want to call it, with Squire taking the snaps, and he got held up twice for no gain, and then he's moved them back, and they ended up turning the ball over outside of the red zone actually. But and then another time they had first and goal at the 4 again, and direct snap to Squire, and he fumbled the ball, and Camden recovered. And so, and they had the opportunities. Camden scored on the first possession of the game. Amari Hickman had a 9-yard run. That was the first possession. They go up 6-0 at that point. Bad snap on the PAT. And then they scored on the first possession of the second half. They got the kickoff and took about over 5 minutes off the clock on an 11-play, 73-yard drive with quarterback Grayson White scoring on a 7-yard run. And Grayson White started the season playing linebacker for Camden. He moved over when they lost their starting quarterback, and he ended up becoming the regular in the AC Flora game, which I was at, which was a 3-0 slobber knocker, as it would be. But
love that word, slobber knocker. So Camden just played their straight up defense tonight, or did they throw anything special at Dillon?
No, they were just doing what they do, and I mean they are so big along the front with Jonathan Chavis, Xavier McLeod, and I can't remember the other couple of kids that are on that defensive front, but they're big. The McLeod kid, he's a big boy, but they're just physical, and they and like I said, you had two teams that are both very physical squads. Camden had 4 interceptions on the night as well. And Dillon turned the ball over 5 times. So, Grider didn't have as good a night as he's had during the season, obviously. But just a good football game. Camden, it's going to be interesting to see how they do against Daniel, because I think they can slow Daniel down a little bit, but as I heard David saying earlier, you just don't know about the points, whether Camden's going to be able to get enough up, because they've struggled at times during the year.
Hey, Dennis, we thank you very much, man. Great stuff. Appreciate you checking in with us tonight. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.
You as well, Phil. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, Dennis Brunson, great job with the story on Camden over Dillon. So, David, really, you summed that up. 5 turnovers by Dillon. I mean, that's a potential 35 points off the board right there, maybe a little less if you throw in field goals and not touchdowns, but still, all those missed opportunities, that'll get you beat every time.
Yeah, and what happens is that defensive line puts so much pressure on the quarterback that they force bad throws. And, I mean, obviously I didn't see the game tonight, but I promise you some of those throws were under duress, and the secondary benefits from that kind of pressure. Any defense, secondaries get a lot of credit for being a great secondary, but there is not a great secondary in any level of football that doesn't have a really good front in front of them. You pressure the quarterback, you affect the way they throw, you get them out of the pocket. They make throws because they're trying to get rid of the ball, and the secondary benefits from that. And I think that's what you get with Camden. The secondary is very athletic. They get in position, they make plays, but the defensive line is making a lot of that happen. You know what I'm saying? It makes the secondary a lot better.
Well, congratulations to Camden. You beat Dillon. You hold them to 7. You forced 5 turnovers. You've done a heck of a job. All right.
Yeah, you deserve to win the game for sure.
Yeah, thanks to Dennis Brunson for that report. All right, got a break coming up. After the break, Garrett Mitchell will join us. He was at the Silver Bluff game. Garrett loves high school football. As he told us last week, even though the team he covers was out, he was going somewhere to watch a high school football game, and he picked a doggone good one. Silver Bluff beating Barnwell 42-35. How did they do it? We'll find out from Garrett after the break. We'll go back over all the final scores tonight, and we should be contacting some coaches here as well in just a little bit. This is the High School Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union on the Sports Talk Media Network.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
The Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl is back for 2021, showcasing the best South Carolina high school football has to offer. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com and make plans to join us in Myrtle Beach on December 11th in celebration of Palmetto State All-Stars from the Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, and Low Country. Visit touchstoneenergybowl.com for a full schedule of the week's events leading up to the game and Mr. Football's South Carolina Award presentation.
Hunter Helms in at quarterback, drops straight back in the end zone, fires deep. He's got a receiver up the seam. 45, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown for Omarion Dollison.
That's the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl kicking off at Myrtle Beach High School's Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium, 12:30 Saturday, December 11th. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Great night of high school football around the state of South Carolina. Welcome back to the High School Football Scoreboard. Phil Kornblutz, along with Pat Daniel, back in our Columbia studios, and David Shelton providing us with the best expert analysis anywhere in the state of high school football. And one of the best games of the night had to be Silver Bluff and Barnwell. We talked about this when it came together last week, David. These are two teams that over the years have played some great playoff games. I think you said tonight on Sports Talk, like what, 7, 8 times they've met for the right to go to the state championship game?
Yeah, I think this was the 7th time, but Garrett will know for sure. But it was either 6 or 7, yeah.
Well, they met again. This time is what's got to be the best name of any area of South Carolina to play a high school football game. Petticoat Junction down there in Silver Bluff, 42-35. The Bulldogs beat the Warhorses of Barnwell, and Garrett Mitchell joins us now. He said he was going to be at a game. This was the one. You made a good decision, my friend.
Right. Well, Phil, Pat, David, good to be back with you again, and you're absolutely right. What a tremendous ball game. And, you know, all that I can think of is the old sports adage, and as cliche as it sounds, it's hard to beat a good team twice. And this was a rematch, of course, from region play between these two teams. And what a ball game it was. And I think you have to look back at that 55-20 Silver Bluff win earlier in the season, and you realize that Barnwell was missing some key guys in that game, and well, they were at full strength tonight. And it started out much like the previous meeting did. Silver Bluff scored on the second play of the ball game, a long touchdown pass from Malik Williams to Arthur Walker, junior. Silver Bluff jumped out quickly, 7-0. But the first half, it was really just a game of trading scores, Phil. As Silver Bluff, of course, they're going to lean on their run game, the sensational sophomore Trayvon Dunbar. And then Barnwell has a junior running back. If you've never heard the name Tyler Smith, then people need to learn that name as well. This young man is a 6'1" tall, 205-pound junior. And Barnwell simply leaned on him all night. And Tyler Smith kept Barnwell, single-handedly in the ball game. It was a 14-14 ball game late into the first half. Silver Bluff finally forced ahead on Dunbar's second touchdown run of the night. That put them up 21-14 at the half. And we come out in the third quarter. Barnwell took the opening kickoff. They took it straight down the field. They were aided by a penalty, much to the chagrin of the Silver Bluff faithful. It was one where you're probably not going to be happy about it. It was a late hit penalty after the play. But it aided the Barnwell drive. They go down and tie the game at 14. And then we just fell into this pattern of swapping scores. Silver Bluff back in front 28-21. Barnwell tied at 28-28. And at that point, it seemed like Silver Bluff had found their footing, that the Bulldogs were going to take control of the ball game. Junior quarterback Malik Williams, on the first play of the ensuing drive, just threw a beautifully thrown ball over the middle to the big tight end, Darius Dixon, who took it 72 yards to the house, and that made it 35-28 Silver Bluff. And then following a fourth down stop, the Bulldogs went right back to work. They took it down the field again in 4 or 5 plays. And Darius Dixon this time took a handoff on the ground, and he rumbled in from about 30 yards out. And it was 42-28. 4.5, 4:34, I believe it was, remaining in the ball game. But Barnwell was not quite done. They come back down the field behind their quarterback. He's one of 5 seniors on that young Barnwell roster. And he hooked up on a busted coverage with a young freshman wide receiver. And that put Barnwell back with a strike distance, 42-35. Onside kick coming, but of course, the Bulldogs put their hands team out there. Nicely done job to recover that onside kick. 2 first downs later, and the ball game was over in Silver Bluff. For the first time, I think, since 2015, which would have been Al Loud's final year. They're headed back to the state championship ball game, and they'll take on Great Collegiate, who, of course, was locked into their own life battle with Newberry tonight. So you've got 2 wonderful running backs, of course, KZ Adams for Great Collegiate, the sophomore Trayvon Dunbar for Silver Bluff. I'll be there in attendance at Benedict College on Friday night. Phil, I tell you, I can't wait to see these 2 very talented ball carriers go head-to-head for the right to call themselves a state champion.
Oh, man, it's going to be a whale of a football game. How big was the crowd there at Petticoat Junction tonight?
I tell you, Phil, it was from sitting with my friend. I've got a couple of really good friends down there that are Silver Bluff supporters, and of course, I've been rolling with them to all these ball games since Woodruff was eliminated. And talking with them, they said it's one of the largest crowds they can remember in recent times. And from my estimation, I would say it was well over 6,000 strong. The home side was standing room only by about 6:45, about 45 minutes to kick off. You were looking fans lined up about 3 deep along the fence. Barnwell, they filled up the visitor side. They were about 3 deep around the fence over on the opposite side as well. Just an electric atmosphere, a huge crowd between these two rivals. The two schools only about 25 minutes apart. It was what I call a backyard brawl for the 2A lower state championship. And goodness, the game did not disappoint. It was one that was really, if you're a fan of football in general, what a joy that game was to be there and to see it and how it played out. Neither team was willing to give an inch, and neither team wanted to go home tonight. Fun this season. Let's do it for one more week, and let's get all that we can out of this 2021 season.
You got it. We'll see you Friday. We'll see you Friday over at Benedict. All right, Garrett Mitchell doing a great job. Silver Bluff over Barnwell tonight, 42-35. Gray Collegiate over Newberry, 35-28. David, what kind of state championship game are we looking at in 2A?
I think we're looking at an explosion of offense. I think both these teams will score on each other. I think you already heard about Dunbar. We know about Casey Adams. Look for both of them to have big games. It's not going to be a game where either team can go into it saying, okay, we got to stop this guy and we'll win, because both teams are very good in other places. But those two running backs are going to take center stage, and I think we're going to see some points. I think that game's going to get in the 30s for sure.
You know, I'm just sitting here wondering what kind of, Silver Bluff's going to bring a bunch of people. They have a fabulous tradition and great following. And, they're going to bring a lot. I wonder about Gray Collegiate now. This is new territory for them, relatively new school. It's it's a different kind of school, I guess. It's not your community area school, like a school that you grew up around and went to the neighborhood school, that kind of thing. I just wonder what kind of fan support they're going to bring to a state championship game.
Well, that is interesting to me. Interesting to see. I don't know how they've had, what kind of crowds they've had at any of their games, but I would think that a lot of Columbia area football fans will show up and sit on their side. I maybe not necessarily fans of Gray Collegiate, but I think a lot of people in the Midlands will come out and watch because Casey Adams is so much fun to watch. I think they're just going to want to see this.
Yeah, you're going to see a battle. Dunbar for Silver Bluff, Adams for Gray Collegiate. I mean, you're truly going to see a battle of two of the state's top running backs, one a senior and one a sophomore.
Oh, absolutely. I think both. I think both will have good games. I really don't think either defense is, they're gonna try to gear up and try to stop them. I just don't think those two guys can be stopped. Maybe slowed down a little bit, but they're both going to have big games, and I think there are going to be some points scored.
That'll be the 7:00 game on Friday night, following the 2:00 game, Camden versus Daniel in 3A, the first championship game of the night of the week of the 3-day affair at Benedict College will be Beaufort and South Point. That's the 4A championship game, 7:00, and then on Saturday at Benedict College, you'll have the 1A championship, Bamberg Earhart versus Southside Christian. That'll be a noon kickoff, and then the 5A championship game, Dutch Fork and Gaffney at 5:00. All tickets are $10, and you can probably start to buy those tickets here relatively soon at your local school there, or I imagine the high school league will have a way for you to buy tickets over the internet or something like that in advance if you so choose.
Yeah,
also,
there'll be online tickets.
Yeah, I was going to say too. Games will be shown on the local station in Columbia. Watch Fox 57.2 on their side channels and on the Sinclair stations across South Carolina. So that is nice to see that going to get that kind of coverage. And that's all coming up next week. There'll be press conferences, a Facebook streaming press we got to talk about this. Why are we not having press conference in person again?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is pathetic. It is pathetic.
Yeah, well, let's talk. I think I've hit something that David doesn't like. Let's talk about this.
I do not like this.
All right, stand by. David Shelton on the warpath, and coaches coming up.
Right now, we all might feel a little disconnected. For seniors living alone with smaller social circles, feelings of loneliness and isolation can feel overwhelming. But there's something we can all do to help. Connect with your older loved one virtually and have the conversation of a lifetime with StoryCorps Connect. Anyone can conduct an interview, and every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history. Connect, honor, share at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
I'm Kimberly Cockrell from Lexington. I work closely now with MAD South Carolina. In 1993, my best friend Nancy was killed in a drunk driving crash. MAD was there for me and will be there for you if you've been affected by a drunk or drugged crash.
Friends, this is Kevin Cohen. If you've been impacted by one of these tragedies, let MAD help you. Online, it's mad.org, or call them 748-7333. That's 748-7333 for MAD.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Mall shooting in Durham, North Carolina Friday. 3 people have been wounded. Police say one person is in custody and more arrests are likely. Black Friday shoppers have been out and, for the most part, spending a little money. Malls and stores report good-sized crowds, but experts do say the really big push will come on Cyber Monday. Pacific Northwest getting more rain. Forecasters say not likely to let up until at least Monday. Flood watches have been issued for much of western Washington, in some cases areas that were hit hard by flooding just 10 days ago. Wall Street, a lot of big problems. Dow was off 905 points. The NASDAQ dropped more than 350 and S&P off 107. This is SRN News.
Now, who could that be?
It's Dominion Energy. I signed us up for a home energy checkup. It's time we learn how to save energy and money.
Well, how much does it cost?
Not a dime. It's free, and it only takes about an hour. Plus, we get a report on things we can do to make our home more energy efficient.
I don't know. Sounds too good to be true.
No. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Your biggest fear when calling for services on your AC or heat at the house is getting ripped off. Unfortunately, it does happen. It won't with Sweet Comfort Services. Jeremy and his team take pride in offering free, no obligation estimates. He encourages you to compare Sweet's prices versus others. They're dependable and local. Online, it's sweethvac.com or call Sweet's Comfort Services HVAC at 803-331-8143.
There's something special about a lasting relationship. You know, I started off as a customer of Stone Interiors almost 15 years ago. Well, that relationship grew, and they've been a partner now of the Point since we launched more than 8 years ago. Relationships matter. People matter. Local matters. Stone Interiors is all about being local, all about customer service, and all about building a great relationship with their customers. I'm proud to call the folks over there my friends. That's all well and good. But what about their granite? What about their marble? What about their craftsmanship? I know all about this as their customer. It is elite. They're the best at what they do. They have the largest selection of granite anywhere to choose from. They have the top team to do the installation. So if you've been considering new countertops, a kitchen backsplash, that bathroom remodel, or even an amazing outdoor kitchen, treat yourself right. Call Stone Interiors. Nobody does it better. You'll brag about them the same way I do. Check out their website, stoneinteriors.com, or give them a call, 461-8950. That's 461-8950. Remember, relationships matter. I know you'll enjoy working with Stone Interiors.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Hey, Point listeners, this is Casey Whitener, and I'm the co-host of Right on SC on Saturday mornings. Join me and Rex Hurst talking about books, talking about writing, craft, marketing, publishing, the whole gambit. Right on SC.blog, Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. on The Point. Hey, Point listeners, this is Casey Whitener, and I'm the co-host of Right on SC on Saturday mornings. Join me and Rex Hurst talking about books, talking about writing, craft, marketing, publishing, the whole gambit. Right on SC.blog, Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. on The Point.
Back we are, high school football scoreboard brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. If you're just joining us, let's take you through the scoreboard one more time tonight. These are upper and lower state championship games in 5A upper state. Gaffney 56, Spartanburg 31, Dutch Fork 21, Fort Dorchester 14, 4A upper state, South Point 24, Greenville 14, Beaufort 42, West Florence 10, 3A upper state, Daniel 41, Chester 20, Camden 13, Dillon 7, 2A upper state, Gray Collegiate 35, Newberry 28, Silver Bluff 42, Barnwell 35 in the lower state, 1A upper state, it was Southside Christian 49, Lamar 7, Bamberg Earhart 7, C.E. Murray 6. And of course, the winning coaches ordinarily prior to COVID, when we had a normal life, they'd all come to Columbia on Monday for a great luncheon and a press conference and individual interviews with media from across the state. A really nice deal. I loved it. David loved it. Everybody that covers high school football in the state loved it. And David, you guys who've been out covering games all season, you've been getting on the field and talking to coaches and players face to face, I would imagine. I don't understand why the high school league is doing this thing on Monday via a stream on their Facebook page. Is this just to draw people to their Facebook page? Why can't they bring the coaches and the media together over the high school league office?
Well, you'd have to ask them. They know how I feel. They can video stream on Facebook the actual press conference that we do every year. So it can't be that. I don't know if it's they don't want. I mean, I was at a football stadium tonight with 6,000 people sitting butt to butt, unmasked, and we can't put 12 people in a room the size that they have. They have the executive committee. I watched the meeting the other day. Executive committee, 12, 16 people all scattered around. No problem, no mask, but we can't bring 12 people, which is how much is in that room at one time. You got 2 coaches, 4 players, and 5 or 6 media guys. Mm-hmm. And we're spread out, and they want us to submit questions for Tammy Newman to ask, and that ain't that. But you get no follow up. You get no follow up. You don't get the private one-on-one outside. I would spend 20 minutes at least with Bryce Librand and Devontae Holliman on Monday because of the relationship they have, the uniqueness of this game. It's just, I don't understand it. I mean, it might work for other sports, but it does not work for football. They should be doing this. And I don't even care if they cut out the meal. I would have no problem going by Rush's on my way home and getting me a burger. I don't need the barbecue and the chicken. I mean, that was a nice touch. But we need to be back in there doing our jobs that we can do. Now, we're going to have to call all these coaches all during the week and bother them. The whole idea of the media thing before was to get it out of the way on Monday so coaches can focus on their team. Well, I'll be calling them all Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'm sorry, but that's the hand we're dealt. And it's not, I mean, They know how I feel about it. I love a lot of things about the high school league, and I have defended them a lot. This is not a good thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that. And from an electronic media standpoint, television, radio, the audio quality has never been good on those feeds. So it's not usable. I can't take the press conferences and use those interviews with on our show. The quality is just not good enough. So I was very disappointed. I'm glad you spoke up for all of us, and I'm sure others did. Speaking of
Coach
Coach
Lou and I
Lightbread,
talked about it. Me and Lou talked about it tonight, and it was just like, it's just not optimal for us to do our job.
we do welcome Coach Lightbrand from Buford High School, Bryce Lightbrand. Hey, 2 weeks in a row, you're highlighted on Sports Talk. Life is good.
Yeah, it is good. I'm off my game right now because David's got me thinking about rushes. So I apologize.
Well, let me suggest, and by the way, this isn't Sports Talk. I'm confused. This is the high school scoreboard, but it's kind of one of the same. But let me suggest that when you come to Columbia, you go to Seawell's for the daily luncheon buffet. The two of you will not be disappointed.
All right, I'll take that suggestion then.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, congratulations to you, sir. I know last week it was sort of like, wow, we're here and we're doing great, and we got a chance to really do something special. Well, you've done something special. You're going to the state championship to face your former boss and very close friend. How does it feel?
It's awesome. We're just really excited for these kids. They're so excited. The coaching staff and the community really showed up tonight. Place was packed, and just excited and thankful, and just grateful for the opportunity.
Give us your overview on your team's performance. I would imagine, you scored 42, so the offense was good, but coaches tend to really love the defense when they hold the opponent to 10 points or less, and you did just that.
Yeah, they came out and they scored on their first drive, and then they only scored 3 after that. So, our defensive staff has done a really great job, and especially when they kind of figure out what the attack plan is, and so did a really good job. And offense was clicking tonight, and found some things that were working for us, and so that was good. And this is I think 3 weeks in a row we've scored a special teams touchdown, and so. We're playing pretty good in all 3 phases of the game right now, so that's always a good thing at this time of year.
What clicked for you on offense that you just mentioned?
Just being able to run some of our RPO game, and being able to kind of spread the ball around a little bit. Tyler was running the ball, and just kind of being able to kind of find different places to get the ball to. Just kind of an all-around good game for us in all 3 phases.
David, you have a question for the coach?
Yeah, I'm wondering, Bryce, I know that Thursday during the regular game week, Thursday is sort of a walkthrough day. There's no really practice. So my thinking was that playing a championship game on Thursday night, like you guys will, one, you're the only show that night, so I think that's great for 4A. But 2, is it it's not that big a deal to play a night early, is it? I mean, other than from a health standpoint, maybe you want to give guys an extra day to recoup from injuries or whatever. But from a game plan standpoint, I mean, the hay's in the barn by Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's not going to be that different. We'll just bump everything up a day. We're going to bring them in on Sunday and do all those things. But no, it's not going to change anything from a preparation standpoint for us. I think. Really the only thing that's I don't necessarily like about it is that, man, you got a lot of people in this community that want to support us and want to be here, and you limit the amount of people that can come to a game when you put us on Thursday night. There's some people that just aren't going to be able to make it, and so that's the rough part about it. But that's part of it. Kind of like I said last week, with the lower state championship game, we'll play whatever time they tell us to play, and we'll play at whatever stadium they tell us to play at. So I guess that's Thursday at Benedict. So we're going to be there.
And last thing, I guess, because it is televised. The games will be televised. So those people that can't get away, and it is I don't know if anybody's ever driven from Beaufort to Columbia. It's not an easy little drive.
Yeah,
So,
it's not a good way to get there.
no, there isn't. There isn't. I mean, so it's kind of it is a different thing. But my whole point was I would like to see it over a 2-day period, a Friday, Saturday, so people could come in on Friday, and if they wanted to stay and spend the night and watch the games on Saturday. But we'll see how this works, and I guess it'll rotate every year. Somebody will play on Thursday night unless they change it. But y'all just happened to draw the game this year.
Yeah, like I said, we don't care when we play. We don't care where we play. We just want to play. So thankful for the opportunity.
I was going to ask you last thing, Coach. Beaufort, beautiful town. It's a tourist town. It's a retirement town. It's a marine town. But is it a town that's got behind your football program?
Yeah, they showed up and showed out tonight. It was packed. Great atmosphere. Just everything that you could want. And I think our kids just, even kind of going into the game, they could see that the community was really behind them. So really thankful for them. And and we're just excited that the community kind of gets to share in it with us. And, hopefully we continue to give them something to cheer about.
You have a message for Coach Holliman?
Hey, listen, I love Devontae to death. He's been a good friend of mine. Obviously, we work together, and he's done a great job up there at South Point. So it'll be fun, and it's always a blessing to get to play in the state championship, and so we'll talk before the game, and I know he'll have his guys ready, and I'm happy for him. He's done a great job. So we'll see how it goes.
And it's a Clemson guy against a Carolina guy. You got any thoughts on tomorrow night?
I hope Clemson wins by at least one. That's where I'm at this year, man. I just we'll take whatever we can get.
Hey, congratulations to you. Great job. Thank you for being with us. We'll be there to see you Thursday night, and best of luck to you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, Bryce Lybrand from Beaufort High School. David, what a job he's done. I guess, you start thinking about best coaching jobs across the state. You think about these guys who get their teams to state championships. He's got to be right up there among the best.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody, if they're being honest, I don't think you couldn't have found 5 people outside of Beaufort that thought Beaufort was going to be in the state championship game. So they've done a great job. Bryce kind of built something last year, had them going in the right direction in a difficult year with the COVID stuff, and then this year they put it all together. They lost a couple of games. They lost to Oceanside in a game where Oceanside had 2 pick sixes in the game and won by 2 touchdowns. Those were the difference in the game. And then they lost to May River in a close game. The one thing about being down in Beaufort, and I know this from talking to people, I bet there were people there from Hilton Head High School, May River High School, Bluffton, Battery Creek. They all kind of in their own little world down there, all those schools. So they kind of pull for each other. They're competitors, but they pull for each other. And I bet there were some players and coaches and fans of those other schools in that area that were there in the stands tonight pulling for Beaufort.
All right, great win for Beaufort. They're on to the state championship to play in that first game of the state championship 3-day event at Benedict. That'll be the Thursday night game. Beaufort and South Point should be a really good contest. A lot of great storylines there because of the relationship between the 2 head coaches. Plus, you got the traditional power versus kind of the newcomer. A good matchup there. And we'll be back. One more segment to go on this Friday night here on the High School Scoreboard.
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping, the gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
The Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl is back for 2021, showcasing the best South Carolina high school football has to offer. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com and make your plans to join us in Myrtle Beach on December 11th in celebration of Palmetto State All-Stars from the Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, and Low Country. Visit touchstoneenergybowl.com for a full schedule of the week's events leading up to the game and Mr. Football South Carolina award presentation. Past winners include Stephen Gilmore, Marcus Lattimore, Jadavian Clowney, and Luke Doty.
It's definitely an honor, to be recognized as one of the best players in South Carolina. These guys are definitely deserving of the award as well. So it really is just an honor, to be named Mr. Football.
That's the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, kicking off at Myrtle Beach High School's Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium, 12:30 Saturday, December 11th. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skeeza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com.
Save like a pro with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders Loyalty Select account gives you the opportunity to grow your savings at our best rate yet. Fund your account through your favorite Loyalty Select product to get savings today. Not a member yet? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
We are back, our final minutes on this Friday night of the high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. What a night it has been. Great football across the state of South Carolina. 20 teams practiced on Thanksgiving and played tonight. Only 10 teams remain, 10 teams and 5 classifications, and those teams will be practicing for a few more days before we get to the state championship games Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Benedict. And one of those teams that will continue to practice, the Gaffney Indians. They win the showdown tonight with their longtime bitter rival, and there's no other way to put it, bitter rival, Spartanburg, 56-31. The Indians roll on. Coach Dan Jones joining us here on the high school scoreboard. Congratulations. A parade? Did I hear that you guys had a parade when you got back to Gaffney tonight?
Yeah, just a little short, about a mile street, parked cars up and down each side, and then all the way into the parking lot, and then the parking lot was full. So when the kids got off the bus, a lot of horn blowing and pictures and celebrating. It's pretty neat. Glad the kids got to experience that.
You know, that reminds me of the scene in Remember the Titans when they won their game leading to the state championship.
Well, maybe that's where they got it from, but that was pretty neat.
Really was. I mean, did you guys expect that? Did it catch you by surprise?
Well, they told some people to bring us in a certain way, and we had a off-duty police officer to take the route with the buses and all, and then the parking lot was completely full of the bus parking lot here at school, and it was completely full. So it was a pretty neat little deal for the kids.
You think it was a byproduct not just of winning the upper state title, but maybe who you beat because it was Spartanburg?
Well, being close and only 20 minutes away, and certainly, being our longtime rival, I'm sure that had something to do with it, no doubt.
All right, let's talk about the game. Boy, you put 56 points on the board tonight. Your offense must have been clicking pretty much on all cylinders.
Well, it was, and, first half we were still down 24-21. We had a couple of touchdowns called back. I think they were good calls. We were moving on one of them and then a holding on one. And, we felt like we had the right stuff called. We just felt like we had to execute. And I think we did that a little better the second half. And because of that, we didn't have any touchdowns called back. And we also had a fumble in the first half, running back, and we ain't had a fumble all year long. So that gave them another opportunity. And second half, defense knocked one loose. We scored in the second half to start it off to go up by 4. And then our defense had a takeaway, and then we scored off of it. So we were up 11 pretty quick, and then it kind of piled on from there.
It did indeed. And, Spartanburg obviously had their offense going there for a little while. You tightened up defensively. What was the difference there as you went down the stretch of the game to kind of keep their offense at bay?
Well, I think in the first half we were playing a little more zone and trying to disguise some coverages and stuff. And then the second, and they were picking us apart. So second half we went to a little more man scheme and got some pressure, and then we had some zone blitz type pressure. We wanted to keep the pressure on the quarterback and not give him as much time to look the field over, because when you do, he's pretty good at hitting open receivers. So we did that and got some contact on the quarterback and had some sacks and, put a little more pressure on him.
David Shelton, questions for the coach.
Coach, way back in September, you were scheduled to play Dutch Fork, and then they had the unfortunate passing of the player, and y'all couldn't play. But does it not just seem, just fitting that y'all do get to settle this? So many people have talked all year about, boy, if Gaffney could have played Dutch Fork, they might have ended that streak. And, a lot of people have been wanting this matchup. And I bet the coaches, I bet you and Tom Knox both would like this matchup just to see it. What's your thoughts on playing Dutch Fork?
Well, they're the best team in the state as far as the last 10 years. They've dominated the Gaffney, the high school football as far as 5A. And, anytime you play them, you're going to play one of the best teams in the state. You also know you're going to play a team that's got a lot of experience at playing in these big games. So, they're going to have kids that played 2 years of, state championship games. So that means they got 30 games under their belt plus this year. So, you're going to play a tough team, and, hey, you want to beat the best there is, and right now it's them.
Go ahead, Phil.
Okay. You're going to be at Benedict, not at Williams-Brice, and we talked about this earlier, and we know how your fans are and how they travel. Will there be enough room for everybody from Gaffney to get in there at Benedict College?
Well, I hope there's not enough room, and they line the streets and everywhere else. But I think there's going to be enough room. There's 11,000, and but nobody knows. It's been a little while since we've been there, and our fans are certainly excited. And we had a great turnout last week at Northwestern, and this week at Spartanburg, and I know we're going to have another big one Saturday in Benedict. So I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. I hope they fill it up and overflow it.
Well, if you win it, I imagine that parade will convene somewhere down I-85 and take you all the way into town, huh?
Great start about Spartanburg, that's for sure. Come on in to Gaffney.
Well, congratulations to you. Congratulations to you and your crew. We look forward to listening to you on Monday, and it should be a well of a ball game next Saturday afternoon. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, there you go. Hey, David, real quick in our last minute, thoughts on Southside Christian Bamberg Earhart. That's the one championship matchup we haven't talked about. We got about 45 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good matchup. I think Southside Christian is the favorite. They really took care of Lamar tonight, and Bamberg. You know, that game was 7-6. C.E. Murray scored first and missed an extra point, and was the difference in the game. So Bamberg's going to play really good defense. They're going to run the football. Southside Christian's got a man up. They're a little more versatile on offense, and I think it's going to be a good game. I like Southside Christian.
All right. Hey, David, thank you so much. Great job tonight, as always. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Pat, Daniel. Thank you to Founders. Thanks to our affiliates, and thanks to all of you, you great high school fans around the state, for being with us tonight. We'll see you next week from Benedict College for the state championship games. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week. This has been the High School Scoreboard.
The only afternoon local talk radio in Columbia is the Afternoon Drive with Kev. It's all about you. It's your phone calls. It's my challenging topics. All the news, traffic, and weather weekdays, 4 p.m. on The Point. Press that.